Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to show you how to use the 8-segment display with Arduino by showing you how to build a project where the 8-segment display counts all the way up to 9 and then starts back over and continues counting up. And so basically I'm going to be showing you how the 8-segment display works, and then I'm going to be showing you the circuit on how to connect it to the Arduino, and then I'm going to be showing you the code. So without further ado guys, let's get started. Okay, so first I want to go ahead and explain on how the 8-segment display works. So basically the 8-segment display has 10 pins all together, 5 on each side. And so basically each LED has its own specific pin. So for example, pin 1, which is also E, it's connected to the E LED on the 8-segment display. As you can see, it has E. So when you give this a positive power, this LED will turn on. And then let's say for D, right here, pin 2. If you give this a positive voltage, then the D LED, which is right here, will bright up. And so on for all of the other pins. They're all representing their own specific LED. And so basically with these two pins right here, which have COM on them, these are for negative. So basically these two pins are basically connected, and they're all providing negative power to the 8-segment display. So that all you have to do is just send one pin that represents that LED, whatever specific LED you're trying to light up. All you have to do is put that pin into positive voltage and the LED will light up. But also something else I have to note as well is that this 8-segment display can be common anode and common cathode. So in this case, my 8-segment display is common anode, basically meaning that you provide positive power to the pins that are connected to its own specific LED. So I would send a positive signal or positive power to this pin to bright up the D LED. But it could be the other way around, where you send this pin low to negative power to turn this LED on. In a common anode, you connect positive 5 volts to these, and in the other ones you send low when you want to turn those LEDs on. It's just the other way around, it's just reversed. And so basically let's just think about this for real quick on how to make the number 1. And so how we do it on the 8-segment display is we need to light up the D LED and the C LED. To light up these two LEDs, that would be 1. So all we need to do is we just need to send this pin right here high and this pin right here high, and that will light up these two LEDs right here that will make the number 1. So basically that's how the 8-segment display works. So now we'll go ahead and set up the circuit. Okay, so now we can go ahead and create the circuit. So I'm going to go ahead and place our 8-segment display. So there it is. And now I'm going to go ahead and start placing all of the resistors. Alright, there's one. There's the second one. There's the third one. And make sure these resistors are not touching. There's the fourth one. And now we're going to do up front. There's the fifth one. So I'm just going to lay it down so it's easy for people to see it. There's the 6th one. And then the 7th one. So we're not going to connect up the 8th one. That's right over here, because that's for the dot right here. And we're not using that in this tutorial. But if you want to use it, you can just connect another resistor to it and connect it to a different pin. And so now we can connect all the resistors to their pins on the Arduino. So the first resistor we can connect is the resistor to the G pin, which is the first pin over here, which is responsible for the middle LED on the 8-segment display. So we'll go ahead and connect that to pin 2. And then pin F, which is responsible for this LED right here, we are going to connect to pin 3. And so now we're going to go ahead and connect pin A, which is responsible for this LED right here. So we'll go ahead and connect this, and we'll connect that to pin 4 on the Arduino. And so now we're going to connect pin D, and pin D is connected to this LED right here. So we'll go connect that to pin 5 on the Arduino. And so now we're going to go ahead and connect the E pin, which is right here. This pin is responsible for this LED right here, and it's going to be connected to pin 6 on the Arduino. Then the D pin, which is right here, this pin is going to be responsible for this LED right here, and it's going to be connected to pin 7 on the Arduino. So then we're going to go ahead and connect the C pin, which is right here, and it's responsible for this LED right here, and that pin is going to be connected to pin 8 on the Arduino. So then the last pin we're going to go ahead and connect is G and D. So that is one of the center pins on either side, if it's this side or this side. Over here, I'm going to connect the ground to this side over here. And so there we go. And so basically that is the circuit. Okay, so now here is the code for the project. And so the first thing we do in this code is we have a byte. That's just the variable type that this array will be holding, that is called digits. Okay, and this array will be having 10 slots. Since we have 10 numbers we are cycling through on the 8-segment display, which is in between 0 and 9. And then we also have 7 pins, because each pin that we light up makes up a number. Okay, so since there's 7 LEDs, we also have to have 7 slots inside of these 8 numbers, because each and every one of these represents a number that we are going to be brightening up. Let's say, for example, we go through the first one. This is the first number, which is a 0. And all we need to do to make the 0 on the 8-segment display is to have all the LEDs on, but the middle one, which is a G, the G LED. We need to turn that off, so it needs to be a 0, meaning that it's off. So then for 1, we just turn on 2 LEDs, which is D and C. Those are the only 2 LEDs we need to turn on. And so on for all of the others. Alright, and they need to all be in order from 0 to 9, so that we can increment through the numbers and it slowly keep on counting up to one after another. And then we have int segment pins. This is going to be holding all the pin numbers that we have used in our 8-segment display. And so then we'll go ahead and go into the void setup, and we use a for loop to set up all of our pins that we have used for the 8-segment display. So we just go through for int equals 0. So we basically set up the variable I, and which is going to be the variable that we increment every single time we loop through this for loop. And we're going to continue looping this for loop until I is no longer less than 7. Then we increment every single time we go through. So this will go through every single time and will increment I to set up all of the pin numbers. And so basically that is what we're doing now. And so now we'll go ahead and go into the void loop, and we go ahead and use a for loop again. So this for loop is responsible to go and represent every single number. So as we go through 1, 2, 3, this for loop is going to be doing that. It's going to be incrementing all the way to 9, which is the maximum number that the 8-segment display can hold. And then it's just going to start back over, because we'll come out of that for loop and come to the for loop, which will just start it all over. So then what about this for loop that's inside of the for loop? Well, we're going to go through this one every single time we increment J. And so basically what we're doing in here is, now that J equals the number that we should be illuminating on the 8-segment display, we need to go through the array that's actually specific for that number. So for example, if let's say J is equal to 3, then we need to go to the third slot in the digits array, which is right here. And so basically then this for loop right here will be going through this array. Okay, so that's what we do here. It goes through and makes I equal to 0, and it's going to continue going through this for loop until I is no longer less than 7, because there's only 7 LEDs on the 8-segment display, and it's going to slowly increment through each and every one of them. And inside this for loop we have digital write seg pin, and so basically it's calling this array right here, which is going to tell us which pin we are using, and it's going to see if this pin should be illuminated by checking into the digits array and giving J, which gives it the specific on what number are we talking about, and it could be any of these numbers. Then one by one, this for loop is going to go through this array. One by one, it's going to turn on the 1. So the first LED is going to turn on, and then it's going to go to the second one. It's going to leave that one off. Then it's going to go to the third one, and it's going to turn that one on, and then so on. It's going to go through one by one and turn on each and every specific LED for the number 3. And then we'll come out of this for loop and delay, so that we can count up slowly, so we can see the numbers actually counting up, and then we'll just continue on. And so basically that is the code. And so now here is the project in action. Okay, so basically here is the project, and as you can see, the 8-segment display is counting up all the way to 9, and then it just starts right back over. And so as you can see, that's what exactly it did, and now it starts back over. And so if you like this video, consider giving this video a like. Also comment down below if you have any questions, and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all, and have a great day. Bye.